So good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is fine. Welcome to Sankofa, the KNCAS film series. And we use KNCAS as an acronym for the Kwabena and Ketia Center for Africana Studies. We are delighted to welcome you to Sankofa, the KNCAS film series at the Kwabena and Ketia Center for Africana Studies, housed within the African University of Communications and Business. This series is dedicated to showcasing films that celebrate African heritage, storytelling, and critical discourse. I'll mention that this is our third iteration of the film series. We have screened films on the anti-imperialist struggle in Africa, a film called Concerning Violence. Some of you were in attendance. We've also screened Burkina Faso Rising that Professor Achampong mentioned a moment ago regarding the role of creating arts in creating a revolutionary environment. So we are very pleased that we have the privilege of screening Judas and the Black Messiah after coming in contact with Chairman Dr. Fred Hampton Jr. just this past weekend. We are blessed that he is traveling within Ghana and is making time to come by to speak about his role as a consultant for this film, as well as the son of our ancestor, Fred Hampton Jr. Through cinema, we engage with history, culture, and contemporary issues, fostering dialogue and reflection. So we ask you to join us as we journey through the power of film, looking back to move forward, Akwaba. I'd also like to take some time to talk about the mission of the Kwabena and Ketia Center for Africana Studies. This center is committed to becoming a leading center for Pan-African scholarship and collaboration, bringing together scholars and thinkers from the African world to conduct research and deliberate on issues affecting the welfare and destiny of Black people, and to disseminate their findings as widely as possible. Additionally, the center will be an incubator for innovative research to generate new knowledge that advances professional practice for those at the cutting edge of transformative development. The center contributes greatly to the university's mission of, quote, preparing lifelong learners to become innovative problem solvers and ethical leaders in the fields of communication, business, and related areas through excellence in interdisciplinary teaching, research, and collaboration at the local, regional, and global levels using a Pan-African framework, unquote. And this is taken from our strategic plan for the years 2022 to 2027, as well as from the university's core value of, quote, embracing African cultural values, unquote. Many of you are familiar with the pillars of our strategic plan that you can view in the vestibule, for instance, in the Discovery House. The African University is not merely a university in Africa with an African label. It is an African university with an ethos and the explicit intent to produce graduates who fully understand, appreciate, and unapologetically manifest their Africanness or their Blackness in all spheres of their lives. The need to provide an education at the tertiary level that enhances the self-awareness of students as Africans led to the establishment in 2009 of this center under the name Center for Africana Studies. About 10 years ago, officially, this center was launched as the Kwabena and Ketia Center for Africana Studies on the 22nd of June in 2015. As an interdisciplinary institution dedicated to the creation and advancement of knowledge about the peoples and cultures of Africa and the African diaspora through scholarly research, teaching, and publication aimed at the regeneration of African peoples and societies. I'd also like to give you a brief biography of Fred Hampton Sr., who is the main subject of our film today. And you can find this brief biography on the wonderful website called blackpast.org. This was written by one of my colleagues, Dwayne Mack, who is a historian. He writes, quote, Fred Hampton, deputy chairman of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party, was born on August 30th, 1948, and raised in the Chicago suburb of Maywood, Illinois. In high school, he excelled in academics and athletics. Hampton graduated from high school and he enrolled in a pre-law program at the Triton Junior College in River Grove, Illinois. Hampton also became involved in the civil rights movement, joining his local branch of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or the NAACP. His dynamic leadership and organizational skills in the branch enabled him to rise to the position of Youth Council President. Hampton mobilized a racially integrated group of 500 young people who successfully lobbied city officials to create better academic services and recreational facilities for African American children. In 1968, Hampton joined the Black Panther Party, or the BPP, headquartered in Oakland, California. Using his NAACP experience, he soon headed the Chicago chapter. During his brief BPP tenure, Hampton formed a, quote, Rainbow Coalition, which included Students for a Democratic Society, the Blackstone Rangers, which is a street gang, and the National Young Lords, which is a Puerto Rican organization. He was also successful in negotiating a gang truce on national television, on local television. In an effort to neutralize the Chicago Black Panther Party, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or the FBI, and the Chicago Police Department placed the chapter under heavy surveillance and conducted several harassment campaigns. In 1969, several Black Panther Party members and police officers were either injured or killed in shootouts, and over 100 local members of the Black Panther Party were arrested. During an early morning police raid of the Black Panther Party headquarters at 2337 West Monroe Street on December 4, 1969, 12 police officers opened fire, killing the 21-year-old Hampton and Peoria, Illinois Panther leader Mark Clark. Police also seriously wounded 4 other Panther members. Many in the Chicago Black community were outraged over the raid and what they saw as the unnecessary deaths of Hampton and Clark. Over 5,000 people attended Hampton's funeral, where Reverends Ralph Abernathy and Jesse Jackson of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference utilized the slain activists. Years later, law enforcement officials admitted wrongdoing in the killing of Hampton and Clark. In 1990 and later in 2004, the Chicago City Council passed resolutions commemorating December 4th as Fred Hampton Day. I'd also like to give you a very short description of the film, Judas and the Black Messiah, which was released in 2021, is a historical drama that tells the story of Fred Hampton, chairman of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party, and William O'Neill, the FBI informant who betrayed him. Directed by Shaka King, the film explores themes of resistance, betrayal, and the struggle for Black liberation in 1960s America. With powerful performances by Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield, it sheds light on Hampton's revolutionary leadership and the government's effort to suppress the movement. I'd also like to share a brief biography of Chairman Dr. Fred Hampton Jr., who will be joining us shortly. Chairman Dr. Fred Hampton Jr. is a political activist, speaker, and the son of Fred Hampton Sr., the Black Panther Party leader who was assassinated by the FBI in 1969. He is the chairman of the Prisoners of Conscience Committee, the POCC, and the Black Panther Party Cubs, or descendants of members of the Black Panther Party. These are organizations dedicated to continuing the revolutionary legacy of his father. Hampton Jr. is known for his activism against police brutality, mass incarceration, and systemic oppression, advocating for self-determination and community empowerment. His work keeps the spirit of the Black Panther movement alive, emphasizing the fight for justice and liberation. We hope Sankofa, the KNCAS film series, inspires meaningful conversations and deeper reflections on our shared history and future. Thank you for joining us on this cinematic journey. Madase, and enjoy the film.
Remember this, prayer is good. If Fred could be murdered while he slept, remember what can happen to you while you're on your knees facing that bed.
That they can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you remember I said with the last words on my lips, that I am a revolutionary. And you're going to have to keep on saying that. You're going to have to say that I am a proletarian. I am the people. I'm not the pig. You got to make a distinction.
The Black Panther Party Cubs, a revolutionary organization in which we say it's a tough act to follow, but as opposed to walking the footsteps, walking the path, the Paul steps, the Black Panther Party. I'm so excited to engage in this conversation. I want to go straight to something that I usually wait for after I speak. I want to go to some Q&A. I want to get some reciprocal energy from you all, because I'm so honored and humbled to be here today with you all. I'm curious as to your questions, your insights, your thoughts. Past struggles in the U.S., present-day struggles we engaged in, as well as this powerful piece of propaganda, we say people's propaganda, that the Judas and Black Messiah, which we were able to get, as I refer to as a dream team, the cast, the directors, so on and so forth. So I'm kind of cutting to the chase. I want to open up for you all for any comments or questions, so I get some reciprocal energy. If that's all right with you all. Yeah, right on. So that's the informal discussion, question, anything I should touch on, any questions you have for me. I'm gonna have some questions for you all also.
Very good. So who would like to be first?
I would like to.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, so recently I've been trying to follow up on the Black Panther Party, and I was told that it has been reorganized and it doesn't follow the old Black Panther Party anymore. So I want to know whether the Black Panther currently is the same as the old one, and they still exist in that light.
We press the, familiar. Yeah, respect, right on.
Louisiana.
Oh, yes, oh, forgive me, right on, I'm looking at the sister, oh, yes, good to see you, yes, right on, right on. The Black Panther Party Cubs, the organization which we, again, I'm the international chairman of, this Canada Legacy Black Panther Party. Of course, it's not the exact same dynamic as the Black Panther Party. There has been and continues to be a fight even to maintain that legacy. Because the vicious counterinsurgency, the war that the U.S. government had waged on the Black Panther Party, in fact, was articulated, one of the dynamics of that was articulated by the former director of the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, was to wipe out, to obliterate and even malign the legacy of the Black Panther Party. And that still continues today. The government has even, similar to they did during the Black Power movement of the 60s, they even created organizations to say this was the Black Panther Party. They engaged in action, which was not actually the Black Panther Party. Those type of activities still continue today. So it's an ongoing battle to maintain the legacy of what the Black Panther Party was, as well as the work that we, the Black Panther Party Cubs, are engaged in today. The struggle for self-determination is still at the core of what we're fighting for, self-determination. Of course, different things are, being born and growing as well as dying and disintegrating. So it's nothing that stays exactly the same. But again, the core of that struggle of self-determination remains the same. And I'm saying this as humbly as I can. The Black Panther Party Cubs, the organization that's carrying on their legacy, we have seen some of the similar programs. We have the free breakfast program. We're an international organization. We have chapters in Saint Denis, France, Sao Paulo, Brazil. We still do a lot of, unfortunately, we see a lot of the issues that the Black Panther Party deal with are political prisoners. In fact, a main mantra, a slogan we say when we greet each other is free them all. In fact, ironically, some of the same issues, some of the same issues that our predecessors, Chairman Fred Black Panther Party, had to deal with, we're still dealing with today. His day and time, some of his comrades did H. Rap Brown, now known as Imam Jibin Al-Amin, who was a present-day political prisoner. And we just unfortunately got the word yesterday, or day before yesterday, that he's dealing with stage 4 cancer. So, those questions, police brutality, which we refer to as police terrorism, miseducation in colonial schools, we don't care healthcare. These are some of the same dynamics we're dealing with. But just to give you like a correlation of some of how we kind of, I want to tweak or make it applicable to today's times. We have Freedom on Radio. It's a radio show that we do every Wednesday. And we do it in the same spirit, the same energy that the Black Panther Party implemented the intercommunal newspaper. The Black Panther Party intercommunal newspaper, in which Mr. Repeating the Black Panther Party said that information was raw material for new ideas. So we at the radio show we do every day. We recognize the importance of culture. In fact, we have the Black Panther Party Code of Culture, where one of our mantras for that is the phenomenon of hip hop. We say there are too many of us in Sing Sing, referencing the prison. For rappers, it's to be talking about some bling bling. So we utilize that too. In case example, interesting. She just reminded me. I recognize her from Louisiana. In response to some years back, many people refer to as Hurricane Katrina. We refer to as Hurricane America. In fact, we say that Katrina ain't killed nobody. We heightened the contradictions that took us to expose how the levees, particularly in the black neighborhoods, were blown up. You know what I'm saying? Disproportionate. It was a microcosm of how the U.S. government, you know, saying, whether we're talking about the infant mortality rate, we're talking about the education of schools, disproportionate ways it deals in regards to our people. The Code of Culture was responsible for even hours prior to Kanye West saying what he said about George Bush, not like black people. We had an actual meeting with him several hours prior to that. And we won these, we had won him, and in any case, we wanted the artists to have some point of unity to the struggle, not placing the onus of responsibility on them as a leadership, because that's a tactic a lot of times that the ruling class would do, grab these entertainers, individuals up as our spokesperson. We have a role for the place, similar to like during the Black Power movement in the 60s. James Brown had a whole totally different song planned at first. He wasn't talking about singing "I'm Black and I'm Proud." It was forces such as H.R. Brown, who I just mentioned now. And now you know what I mean. They literally drove that on him, put the pressure on him, forced him to come in. James Brown changed the song, came out the song "I'm Black and I'm Proud," where it ups the ante for everyone to take some productive role. Right on? Yes, sir.
Excellent. Our next question, comment. Don't be shy. Yes.
I'm just gonna say, yeah, I can't even remember how long ago we met each other.
Yes.
In Cobra, Chicago,
Yes.
Milwaukee.
Yes. Shout out. Yes.
I missed you a couple of years ago when you were down there. I'm living here now.
Wow. Right on.
Because, just as you said, the struggle still continues.
Yes.
The fire is still burning in the U.S.
Yes.
There's so many, and I moved 3.5 years ago. I planned my move 10 years ago. I've been coming back and forth for 10 years.
Wow.
And we see what you're saying. We have to have the colors.
Yes. Yes.
We have to have
Yes.
the Black Panther colors
Yes.
everywhere because these subhuman
Yes.
devils
Yes.
are trying to wipe us completely out.
No doubt.
I just came back from Burkina Faso 2 weeks ago.
Oh yes. I want to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the struggle continues.
Uh-huh.
1969, I graduated high school, so I lived through all of this. So it was very heartwarming and touching to see. This is my first time seeing it.
Oh,
I
wow.
know about it. This is my first
Yes.
time. So yeah, it touches your heart when you know you have lived through this.
Yes.
And of course, I don't know how you do it.
It hits me different every time I watch it.
Yeah.
It hits me different.
Very
Yeah.
emotional.
Yes.
And the reason we mentioned Louisiana because is your father still buried in
He is buried in Louisiana, and law enforcement will shoot his tombstone up every year where he's buried
They
at.
don't
And we had a big debate internally. Some of our forces' position was to cover the whole. And I said, no, I think we should go. We refer to the Emmett Till tactic. Emmett Till, who part of Mississippi, Money, Mississippi, executed, tortured, and his mother and the people took a position to let the world see his face. You know what I'm saying? Not dressed up, because a lot of times, particularly in America, Malcolm X said America's democracy is an hypocrisy. It's very genius. We're putting the cover, the facade of it, you know, and to show that contradiction. And so we came to a point of unity to put not a cover, but like a casing, a bulletproof casing over the tombstone. And we go down there every year, Father's Day. We have a pilgrimage. We go down there to the grave site. The question that come up: why was he buried there in Haynesville, Louisiana? He's actually buried right next to, diagonally from L.U. White, his grandfather, my great grandfather, who had a powerful impact on him as a child, as well as myself as a child. When I grew up, so that was a major reason to have him buried back down in Louisiana. Yes. Thank you so much. It's great to see you. Love, respect. Right on. Yes. Yes. I think it's yes.
I wanted to ask, the Black Panther Party, I haven't really read so much of it, but from what I understand, they are meant to protect the Black community from political right? So what were the roles the Black Panther Party played during the death of George Floyd 2020? What role did you play and how is your engagement with the Black Lives Matter?
The initial name of the Black Panther Party, the first name of the Black Panther Party, October 15th, 1966. Prior to that, you had Lowndes County, Alabama forces who later became SNCC, who utilized the symbolism of the Black Panther Party in contrast to the other electoral political parties where they do the white rooster. It's kind of like in the U.S. we have the Democratic Party, Republican Party, have the elephant and the donkey. And so the electoral process, Lowndes County, Alabama, that's the Black Panther Party. That was many people was seen that in the community then. But the Black Panther Party for the Oakland, California, they started in Oakland, California, October 15, 1966. It was initially named the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. That's important that narrative is put out. In fact, that was something that we laid out during the process, during the movie. There was a lot of struggles, There were times when politics, the political ideology of the Panther Party, it clashed with what may have been advantageous cinematographically or movie speaking. Like there's a scene where Dominique Thorne, who portrayed Judy Palmer, in the scene with the police were in front of the Black Panther Party headquarters, and they were taunting the party members. And initially, she came out shooting, and he was like, great scene, cut. And I said, no. I said, no, that's an issue. That's a contradiction. You have to take into account that the people, even down to the point where the baby carriages were walking down the street, and who shot first? Because the narrative in regards to our people, in some of the cases, it's an incorrect narrative that we drew first blood. You know what I'm saying? That we started something, you know, as opposed to putting it in context. Even in cases where people may flatter themselves and say that they've done something, it may be reactionary, but to put stuff in historical political context, you know, I say on many occasions, I think all African people should be given a Nobel Peace Prize for the fact that we have just snapped out, you know. But he, that scene, for example, they so we struggled back and forth, you know what I'm saying, so it couldn't be they shot first. So that the Black Panther Party was self-defense, so we put it in the correct context. To the heart of the question, ironically, you know, even today we have representatives with the present day, what was shown here, and this kind of goes back into some of the stuff like even, it's eerie in a good way with me about some of the similarities that, you know, I've had the fortune to come into contact, and in a bad way, I've been targeted by some of those same adversarial forces, you know what I'm saying, you know, ranging from me being a political prisoner, sent to the same prisons / concentration camps that Chairman Fred was in. Just done the funeral services a few weeks ago for Chairman Cha-Cha Jimenez, who was the founding leadership of the Young Lords, which a Puerto Rican organization that Chairman Fred had won to certain points of political unity. And he was Chairman Fred, one of Chairman Fred's comrade, as well as my comrade. Arthur Manuel, Chairman, I have a block, like a subconscious block on going to so-called Canada. I'm ready to do it now because, brother, most deaf, known as Yasin Bey, we had a discussion one time. He was telling me, he said, did you know that 2 weeks after Chairman Fred came back from so-called Canada, he was assassinated, and 2 weeks after Malcolm X had came back from so-called Canada, he was assassinated. I said, wow, I didn't know that. So it was like a block, but I got my, and I'm ready to deal with that now, but that was like a block. We have the present day Rainbow Coalition, and Kanu's Manuel, she was present here with us today. We, amongst other forces, we were on the ground, George Floyd in particular. But the first time, we were literally down there on like hours later after George Floyd was murdered. I recall we were at the Hampton House. The Hampton House is the house in which my father, Chairman Fred Hampton, grew up in. And we recommend everybody go to thehamptonhouse.org, thehamptonhouse.org, and you keep updated on the work that we're doing there. That's our base of operation. And we have a chapter there in Minnesota. And comrade, we jokingly say one of our comrades, Comrade Cool, and, she reminds us of the sister that was in the movie. And this was not by design, you know, and she led the work there in Minnesota. And that, like moments after that, when it went down, he was murdered, she said, Chairman, it's gonna go up. We knew the location. Our position was that had that even happened a few blocks away, it probably would have been a different response. See, politics, like we say, as old saying, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. You know, you stay. You know hot spots even here in Ghana. You know different situations. You can say, oh, if this happens there, it's going to be a different response as it happens there. You taking different dynamics, Tema, Ghana, so on and so forth. So that location, we were very familiar with the area, and we knew it was hot. It was a powder keg. We hit the road that night. We hit the road that night. We right there, we got our programs are there. The free breakfast program. We have the Triple C's, Children, Community, and Cuz. our survival programs we were doing prior to George Floyd being murdered. So we had a relationship with the people, we had the ground moving right there, and it's been consistent right there on that scene. Yeah, that's a major, to this day, a major aspect. And you, in that climate, because it kind of hit me recently at an anniversary event for Mike Brown. I don't know if you're familiar with Mike Brown. Mike Brown in Ferguson, a suburb of St. Louis. Mike Brown was murdered by the police, young brother who, and we just had an event for him. And I said, wow, it's been 10 years. And we got there, I want to put this in context too. And then I just did it recently for 5 years. Breonna Taylor, this is a sister in Louisville, Kentucky, where they came in the house, and her guy, her man, was in there with her. He defended, shot back, and he tried to lock him up, but they murdered Breonna Taylor. Her auntie, Bianca, we work with her right now, present day. I want to say something about even that time period, and it was when the rebellions, not the riots, the uprisings, rebellions it was like as soon as the police did something, even the store merchants, they would automatically put the boards in front of their stores. They knew it was hot. There were different dynamics in place also. You had what we refer to as the plandemic, as opposed to calling it the pandemic. The plandemic, the coronavirus, all this was happening, and certain things they were not. The system was not able to even utilize its Pied Pipers or its modern day gladiators. In other words, the athletes, the entertainers. Because a lot of times they send them out, to calm people down. Like a movie, 12 Years a Slave. Remember the scene when they were taking his sister's baby from her, and as soon as they were going to fight, he said, "Play the violin, calm them down." And that's a tactic, And so remember, everything was shut down. That worked, and that really set the stage for a lot of progressives, people challenge a lot of contradictions, But we still, and it's ups and downs with the question. In fact, we refer to it as the police terrorism as opposed to police brutality. We have a campaign we initiated in 2001 titled the AAT Bill, the African Anti-Terrorism Bill, the African Anti-Terrorism Bill. There was a discussion about terrorism, people talking about September 11th. So we said, let's have this discussion from the correct context. From a people who we refer to as not the OGs, not the original gangsters, the original victims of terrorism. People who have been terrorized in such euphemisms as slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, and to put in this correct political context. We say every day is a September 11th for us, what I'm saying? And so where's our Victims of Terrorism Fund? So just try to put in this correct context. Right on. Great questions.
So our next question will come to you, letting the people have an opportunity.
Okay,
Yes.
so I think the point in the movie that really hits was where, under the guise of darkness, where they were shot. Because they were
The closing?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So when we as audiences, we can, it was very heavy for us.
Yes.
I don't know about others, but to me. So how does it feel growing up as the son of that man who went through all those things? Because you would obviously be living it. It's not a movie to you, but you'll be living it every day. Be reminded that this is your father. He was killed even though he was doing this and that. So how does it feel growing up as the son of this great person? And do you think we will ever get to a point where, aside from these movies, there will be instances where there will be no longer be individuals like George Floyd, Fred Hampton, and the rest? Like, there will no longer be Black Americans, people from different continents coming there to seek livelihood, but at the end of the day, they come back dead. Do you think they will ever get to a point where there will no longer be such a thing? Yeah.
The first part of your question, I think it's imperative that even my knowledge of Chairman Fred and the Black Panther Party, that wasn't my first sighting of the assassination scene. To know of his organizing, to hear the war. In fact, I like this term now. I like to use now. I've been using this recently. War and love stories, where people in the community talk about how how he impacted their lives. The free break. When I was locked up, one of the times I was locked up, no attorney, no lawyer would touch my case. One attorney here got on my case, and I said, "Why? What makes you want to work on this case?" He said, "I was a recipient of the free breakfast program. I ate the free breakfast program. I learned through, in fact, I said this in one of my poems I wrote about. I say, a lot of people want to know, how does it feel to be sired by you, to be loved by the people, but sweated by the you-know-who? If I had the choice, I would choose to be your son. If I had to choose, I would choose to be your son. And by the way, that lady that you chose, that was the one." It's so, one day it was a situation. In fact, this brother, who I love and respect, he was leadership for one of the major street organizations. They refer to as the gangs in Chicago. And we had an interesting dialogue. His membership was there, and he had said something to the effect, he said, "You're crazy." He said, I said, "Why do you say that?" He said, "Well," he said, "to die for the people. To die." I said, "Something, you think I'm crazy? I know people who are dying for drugs, who are dying for land strips, you know what I'm saying? They cannot kill people like Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. A legacy is more important than your life. And it's a system that assassinates, kills directly. I had the fortune and unfortunate for them to be graphically laid out what they did. They tried to have other organizations take them out prior to that, straight out assassination. But they kill all of us, all of our fathers and mothers, in one way or another. Shooting them down, stringing them out on some sort of narcotics, breaking them, you know what I'm saying? So you have like a walking dead, you follow what I'm saying? So to be, and one of the Achilles heels, of weakness of American, U.S. imperialism in particular, is to turn the lights on, to expose it, to call it for what it is. Like even, there was a situation some years back where a famed hip hop artist, Jay-Z, had done a song with Kanye West. And he had said on the song, he arrived the same day Fred Hampton died. Because he was referencing that his birthday happened to be the same day, same year, December 4th, 1969. And a lot of people told me I should just be happy for that. We took issue. We struggled to say no, to put in this correct context, that Chairman Fred and Defense Captain Mark Clark were assassinated. And you listen to this is a soundtrack to this song. He changed the words. He said, "Excuse me, assassinated." You see, and a lot of times they tell our people, don't make a big deal about it. It's not that important. It's just schematics. But some talk show, I think called A View, Whoopi Goldberg, if she makes one slight incorrection assessment of Nazi Germany, they check her. Before the commercial comes on, they should get it right. You listen to when all the white people went down to Washington D.C. and the ones who U.S. President Trump just gave a pardon to, y'all see they stormed the Capitol January 6th. And he just gave a mass release pardon for all of these individuals. But throughout the duration of the time, he always referred to them as hostages, prisoners. So just we are deprived of an acknowledgement. You know what I'm saying? So it's an honor to say that who are we? That the most powerful entity, U.S. imperialism in particular, and its tentacles reach far, as we know in the case of Patrice Lumumba and so many others. You know what I'm saying? That it crosses all geographical colonial borders, but it gives you a different perspective. Like who, you know what I'm saying? Because they tell us, oh, we're not that important. You're paranoid. You know what I'm saying? So to look at it in a different context, say, wait, his FBI file starts when he was 13, going on 14 years of age. Yes. He took the junior NAACP from around 7 to 300 members in a 7.5-month time period. When they called for a wiretap on the telephone of my grandparents' home, the Washington, D.C. Bureau thought it was a typo. They said, he cannot be this young. It's impossible. They seen his organizing capabilities, you know what I'm saying? And once we start having these type of discussions, it's a term we like to use, we say, as opposed to calling them role models, real models. Real models. People who come from, who we can relate to, you know what I'm saying? So it's inspiring. The elementary school that's across the street from the Hampton house, when we got there, the children did not know who Chairman Fred was. Once we got there, we started politicizing. We have a community refrigerator. And they tried, the Hampton house, the state, they tried to turn this into a dope den. They tried to salt the earth. Ironically, I just left Oakland, West Oakland, California, and I was talking to my brother Newt, Minister UEP Newt's nephew, and we were talking about all over the country, where the Black Panther Party, in particular, other organizations were organizing that, they salted the earth. They flooded it with narcotics. They flooded it. So when it came back, we had to clean house at the Hampton house. We had to clean house. You know what I'm saying? There were 9 overdoses on drugs next door. We have a community refrigerator now. We serving the people. It's a different atmosphere. You feel what I'm saying? And people look at it different, you know? And now, and what the state would do, as we see in so many cases, is Malcolm X said, when they can't stop it, what would they try to do? They say, okay, let's co-opt it. Let's water it down. And kind of go back to your question earlier about the Black Lives Matter also. A lot of those groups were created to co-opt. The state said, wait a minute, and they'll give them more media attention. They said, we can't stop it, let's co-opt it, water it down. Malcolm X talked about the March on Washington, the initial march. The masses of people said, we're gonna shut DC down. And the ruling class said, well, we can't stop it, let's co-opt it, fund it. You know what I'm saying? So our political muscle has to be worked to a degree that we can recognize the real from the counterfeit. And we have to look at death different. Like you see different oppressed people there. People say, why are they going against the odds? Why would they think that they're throwing bricks against tanks? You have to have a different definition of living. You have to be able to distinguish living from existing. And once you get a taste of it, it's a different dynamic. I use the analogy like in Chicago, it's a big thing about the pizza. They say the pizza tastes good. And once you go other places, it's a different dynamic. I was having a discussion yesterday, they talking about the fufu, and they say that now they say, brought to our attention, as opposed to making it by hand, they say a lot of times it's by machine now, but they say it's a different taste. It's a different taste. Once you, and now as a novice or new refrigerator, oh, this is great. You say, no, I've had the real deal. Once you taste that self-determination, once you see such organizations stand up on their own terms, and even as Malcolm X, El Haj Malik said, our mistakes even belong to us. See, that's important. That's important to say. See, it's a different feeling. To say, what about we don't have all the luxury, the media coverage, and so on and so forth. But to have that precious entity of self-determination, and once you taste it, once you touch it, nothing else can compare. When you say the titles, I was in Ireland on a delegation for Mumia Abu Jamal, long-held political prisoner, and Bernadette Devlin with the Irish Republican Army, who was banned from the United States. When she seen me, she met me. She wouldn't even meet me at a place where they had more of the palatable individuals from the IRA organization. And when she met me, she said, "I remember seeing you as a child. You had a chain around your neck. It was a bullet around it as a baby." She said, "I remember the different titles for the organization, and there's a certain dignity that you have when you have that." It's a documentary about the UNIA, Universal Negro Improvement Association. And the lady, she's like 80 years old. I mean, you can see when she talks about her father, when her father would come home from the work, how you'd be slumped, when he throw on his UNIA uniform. She said he would take the stocks. You say you tell her to put your hand on them, and she said they would ride the trolleys to go to the parades. She said her shoulders even stood up prouder. It was a different. You can see her coming back to life. When you talk about that era of resistance or struggle, even fighting back, it's a different definition of defeat and victory. Even if it's I'm gonna quote this member. He was in the LA chapter of the Black Panther Party, and they were talking about this big shootout, 41st and Central, when the police had attacked them. He said, "For 5 minutes I was free. For 5 minutes." And once you taste it, once you taste that fufu, that handmade food, it's a different dynamic. You say, "Oh, this may do." Once you taste that self-determination that we made it, it's a different feeling. Right on.
Excellent, thank you. I think we want to respect your time because we said it's at 4 p.m. But we certainly are your audience.
Yes.
Is there anyone who has a burning question, concern? I know the gentleman here had a follow-up. You can speak now if you'd like to. No. You have one more, so you may be our last one.
So I was concerned about with the Black Panther movie that came out recently. Like, why did the Black Panther Party not do anything about that? Like, allow the media to portray the Black Panther Party in that manner?
You talking about the Marvel comic?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Actually, the initial came out prior to this movie, Judas and the Black Messiah. We only, the vanguard leadership can only go as far as the people. They, like even certain battles, and we out resourced, we out, in the people's consciousness. We say heightened. In fact, that term is inside this movie, Judas and the Black Messiah, because I was saying on the set. They said, "Well, you always say that, Chairman." They put it in the script. Heighten the contradictions. Heighten the contradictions. It's things that, you know what I'm saying, stuff that you may take for granted that you're conscious of. A lot of times people don't see, well, I don't see the damage in that, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes people have to go through certain stage, whether it be neo-colonialism, white power disguised in black face, white power disguised in brown face, and so on and so forth, or even recognize the significance of propaganda. So it's it's a constant battle. But I'm gonna say this too, in retrospect. I think that old axiom Chairman Fred would always say, nothing is all good, nothing is all bad. And I recall, I was like, what about the generation who now their first concept of the Black Panther Party would be the Marvel comic. However, now I look at also, I don't think this would have, like I've been places where I just spoke in, I'm still surprised, we spoke in a prison in Utah. I don't know if y'all know Utah, it's like, you talking about white. And sometimes people hear the word Black Panther, the movie, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? I've been getting certain arenas too, where they didn't see it coming, the Trojan horse, you know what I'm saying, to see it coming. But we have to recognize too, that I tell people, like even with children, some contradictions they have to happen. They have to happen. We're going through some battles right now where the state is constantly, every day, creating counterfeit organizations. You know, and I tell we say, well, why we just don't stop it? And even I would tell forces, no, this has to happen. I grew up. I'm Chairman Dr. Fred Hampton Jr. I had to earn, even they watch me. They say, okay, this see, we're not just going to say that you're carrying the legacy just because you're his son. I was under contested conditions. So our people have we have to see certain, sometimes you have to, Minister Huey P. said that contradictions are the ruling principle of the universe. You have to engage and you have to see certain dynamics and to say, oh, now I appreciate this as opposed to this. You need to, they don't necessarily have to be antagonistic. You have to say, okay, Fufu, Banku, you say, okay, the differences, you'll say, okay, I appreciate this more. I understand the significance of eating this time of day. I understand the significance of a revolutionary organization, this not being a, you follow what I'm saying? So different dynamics have to occur. And that's another, we have to, we are fighting for power. And this system, in our times, we see it in a limited sense of just that dynamic of just the physical mechanics of the fight. Now recognize the dynamics of propaganda, movies, our terms, our words, our greetings, everything. So that was a struggle. But again, this like even with this piece, the movie Judas and the Black Messiah, people say, well, do you think it's going to actually get the actual whole story about Chairman Fred? I said, let's be clear. You cannot put a shark in a fish tank. It's impossible to get everything in there. And let's also take into account the history of Hollywood. There were struggles, in fact, with even coming from the narrative of the informant, William O'Neill. Why would he be like the spokesperson? And we say, you think Hollywood? And I was one of those people also. But the reality is, you think Hollywood going to say, okay, what, a movie on Chairman Fred, the Black Panther? Yes, go. No. So you have to put that, we say, put that Panther Cub peel in the applesauce. You follow what I'm saying? There were certain things that, certain Negro spirits that Harriet Tubman had to utilize. For example, even with the flyer, even with this flyer. We got the flyer initially. It's one flyer that we had an issue with. One flyer that had just him and him without the people in the background. Follow what I'm saying? If you look at the movie again, there is no scene, not one scene with those two characters by themselves. Not one, there's not one, you go look at it, there's not one scene where they're by themselves. This is done intentionally because a lot of hijackers of history, revisions of history, tried to make it like that was his security. William O'Neill was never Chairman Fred's security. You follow what I'm saying? You follow what I'm saying? So even the propaganda, so first like they just best friends, so on and so forth. This is an organization. When you hear the titles, Chairman Fred, Defense Captain Mark Clark, see, people, the structure, like people say, they hear me speak, they say, you always say Chairman Fred, why you never say my daddy, my father? That structure, this is a structured organization. Checks and balances. Accountability, serving the greater good. I'm still held accountable to the legacy of people who are not physically here anymore. I had to check in and say, did I sway from the party's program? With the Hampton House, they had plans for me to go somewhere else. I said, well, wait a minute. They said, no, Chairman, you have to be on this campaign right now as a servant of the people. I tell people that I live out of a suitcase. You know what I'm saying? To be able to, and I'm honored. I'm not crying the blues. I'm the honored. You know what I'm saying? To have that, it's a hell of a feeling. Hell of a feeling.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
I hope you don't mind if I ask one question.
I do not mind. This is great exchange.
This is a question that's dear to my heart.
Yes.
How would you, and you've been doing it, but what explicit message would you give to a group of young Ghanaians who are largely interested in leaving Ghana, and particularly relocating to countries like the United States, the UKKK, etc.? What would you tell them? Because they think that is paradise.
There are some people who are actually inside the U.S. The U.S. is so Machiavellian. Who people can be like literally in it, and they see it as paradise. And sometimes contradictions are necessary. To really appreciate certain dynamics. It's things that you may take for granted. I was at the market yesterday. Is it Timmer? Accra, the market. Just the simple fact of seeing, our people. Just the massive amount of our people. Just that alone. Just something that you might just take for granted, And I was held captive when I was a political prisoner. They had me in one prison known as Menard. That's the prison that Chairman Fred was in 1969. I was in 1999. It was so horrible that if a TV came on, a commercial came with a black person, people hollered, turn the TV just to see our people, And so just that was like just that alone. But don't get me wrong. Again, U.S. in particular is phenomenal at putting the facade of freedom across. And sometimes you know what I'm saying but I struggle to take a world view, a world you know what I'm saying you can and go dig deeper than what the social media what they give you. Dig deeper. Look at right now even the music industry. Let's look at the music industry for example. It's a time right now. Look at a certain discussion that people can have. Look at the puppets, who the case the U.S. has been the machine is still using. And this I want to give a shout out to this phenomenal genius Kendrick Lamar. This I've seen the memes of the people here at home, and it's so much. He is touching on so much. In that, they're not like us, and this is so the music industry is like you look back now stuff about the puffy combs and likes, and you think back, you look at the facade, you say, wait a minute, how has this been going on? This type of activities been going on, and when you look at the facade, and look how many lives have been damaged by destroying. I mean, babies, eating people up that believed in this. You look at it. It would have been premature some time ago to even say it. And some people, in fact, it was a young man who it was right before a lot of stuff got exposed to the music industry. I remember talking about stuff and stuff that I took for granted. And he told like I'm paranoid, like no, that these people really make it based on talent. But look at the history of America. Look at the history of it, and dig deep. Go past the fronts. You know what I'm saying? Go. That's why this is so. I'm so honored to be here now. So any questions people have, let's have them. And it's Machiavellian with the carrot and the stick. You know, in other words, it gives concessions, and they grab certain people to put them in front, and these we call them slave success stories. I remember when I went to Brazil, I landed. The young people running, oh yes, you know, Puffy, 50 Cent. I said, whoa, Lil Wayne. I said, let me be very clear. You know, that's not we don't get the airplay. Like even in the resistance, the sister mentioned Black Lives Matter. Even for activists, they grab a certain individual and place them up. Say, okay, here's your spokesperson. You know, and then there are certain periods of time when it gets so raw, you get to see the real. But it's I don't want to be like, I mean, this is, again, U.S. it's a microcosm of the world, how imperialism operates. You know what I'm saying? It has the ability to dress itself up and sell itself, you know. And so, but just, again, take an objective historical analysis. It's, and in some cases you can say, well, this just happened on that day. That's just that part of America, that part of the situation. The police were bad in Minnesota for George Floyd, but as one of my comrades, he said, his mother said all the time, if one person calls you a horse, you may can dismiss that. If 7 people call you a horse, you may want to get a saddle. You look at the contradiction. You know, I tell people tell me that, well, I know you're mad, the police killed your father. So this is not an aberration. This is the modus operandi. What is unique about the case of Chairman Freddie Defense Captain Mark Clark is the conscience were heightened. You know what I'm saying? The emperor has no clothes. Is forced to be in the raw to say, no, this is what this was, an assassination. But I spoke at a school on the southeast side of Chicago. The name of the school was Winnie Mandela. When I was speaking to the school, the children, they were talking, and they not only were ignorant about who Winnie Mandela was, it was the arrogance. They said they didn't know and didn't care. I said, oh no, that's not how we operate here. So the principal walked past, and they thought I was going to, I said, no, we're going to address this. And so one young brother, he got up and got to tell me who he was. He's about 13, 14 from the streets. And I told him, I know the neighborhood you're from. I will meet you over there too. We can finish this conversation. We can do it right here. This young brother cried. He said, you're the first man I ever met. 14 years old. Tears came in my eyes when he said it. But then he also said, they kill people like you. He said, it's a message sent to every generation. See, December the 4th, 1969, around 4:35 in the morning, and which ironically, me and my mother still wake up every morning around that time. Right now to this day. Right now to this day. Even when I'm in different places around 4:35, I didn't notice this till after the movie came out. Me and my mother, we wake up around that time. December the 4th, 1969, those assassinations occurred. December the 5th, the next day, the area of Maywood, where he grew up at, law enforcement came through all the houses, put all the men out, all the boys, in front of their mothers and their sisters, and told them there would never be another Chairman Fred out here. Wow. It broke them. It broke them. When we got out there, we was right there. We had our free food. The police was surrounding us. They told we couldn't. We stayed in the Hampton house. There was no water. When we met with the KNCAS, we had to meet with these people. So we need to meet with. We're not going to prove it. We had to meet with people. So we sat at the Hampton house. Ryan Coogler, Zenzi, Charles King, Daniel Kaluuya, Shaka King, Dominique Fishback, and others. We sat there at that table. There was no water there. No heat in the Hampton house. And it heightened some contradictions. People said, how do people talk about Fred Hampton selling books, making, you know what I'm saying? And the bank was going to take the house at this time. So, I lost my point where I was going with this. But, And the police still have my quote in the police station. When they came to the Hampton House, we told them, our position was handcuffs and caskets before we abandoned it, the Hampton House. We stand our ground for that. But so again, it's Machiavelli with it. Again, but do it, especially with this age of social media. Go past the stuff that they send you all the time. Type in names. Go a little deeper. Like you get about. I just left Memphis, Tennessee, the anniversary assassination of Dr. King. And no disrespect, no slight on Rosa Parks. No disrespect. For me, Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on the bus. It's also that case. There's a sister named Claudette Colvin, who's alive now, 85 years old. She was dark-skinned sister, 16 years old, pregnant. She wasn't the poster child for this. You follow what I'm saying? See, the race and class still exists. It's there. Yeah, it's there. So I just want to say that and let's utilize the technology and opportunities we have to connect with like minds. Tupac had this thing on one of his tattoos. It had a shotgun, AK-47 with a coin, Nefertiti tattoo, and it had 50 niggas under there. And they said, "What does that mean?" He said, "I want to connect from each state. I want a person, you know what I'm saying, that can connect with each other. So let's utilize this in the interest of, you know what I'm saying, like minds connecting with each other. We have a thing on the schools. We have the educational ethic. Distinguish the educated from being trained. Make it a class project to work on the, you know what I'm saying, cases like when we Abu Jamal. Make it a class, you know what I'm saying, let's do it, like real cultural exchanges. What was happening? So talk to people. Like they have people who play chess across the world. They play chess, they play video games. Connect with some of the Black Panther Party. Go to our YouTube, Chairman Fred Jr. Hit us on Instagram. Let's share, you know what I'm saying. Go watch my Instagram, official Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. You will see really what's going on. Now, I'm not the best video person, so sometimes I'll be dropping the phone with it, but you will see real deal, I'm talking in live action, what's going on on the streets of Chicago, Detroit, you know what I'm saying, South Dakota, you know what I'm saying? We move, I mean, like in real time. This, you won't get the edited, ruling class media, nor the petty bourgeoisie Negro press. You will get in the raw, what's going on, mistakes included. Sometimes, I should have said that. You will get it. Go to official Chairman Fred Hampton. Go to YouTube, Chairman Fred Jr. And send me what you say. We can exchange to see the real deal. When I come here, I don't see myself as a tourist. Last night we eating food with the people. We comment, we talk, and we engage the conversation. That's the people say, I never seen that, Chairman. Because a lot of times they see people calling to give them the tourist side. Let's do real deal exchanges. Right on?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Badasi. Thank you. Badasi.
You are welcome. So thank you all for attending this riveting conversation as well as screening of Judas and the Black Messiah. One of our mottos at African University of Communications and Business is discover yourself from here. And we're actually in the Discovery House. So we'd like to personally thank you for playing a pivotal role in our students' self-actualization and discovery of who they are as African people. In this case, on a global scale. And I think that the students are very appreciative of the wisdom that you have shared with them. So let's give Chairman Fred another round of applause.
I'm back in class.
Yes.
Can we get a group photo?
Yes, we will certainly do a group photo. We'd also like to welcome and thank your guests for accompanying you.
Yes, sir.
We're very appreciative of helping us set up this event today.
This is my sister comrade, Colin Emmanuel Award. The indigenous people in the U.S. and so-called Canada.
Yes.
Uriel rode with us. It's her husband, also my comrade rode with us nonstop. Cody, we say, let's make history, take history, take history. So again, I'm fortunate to have these forces along with us. Yes, indeed.
Ashe, thank you, and you are welcome. So thank you all very much again. Next week, for students in particular, but also the general public, we'll be having another installment of our Global African Diaspora Lecture Series. We have a Ghanaian who is based at the University of Manchester in the UK. who will be giving a talk on the significance of Kwame Nkrumah, particularly through the lens of his speech, The African Genius. So you are encouraged to visit us in person or online. It will be a hybrid event. So thank you very much again. That is next Thursday, the 20th of March. I'll send a reminder on the platform we've established. Yes. So thank you all again. Have a good evening.